Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Runescape video. Today I'm going to cover a topic that players have wondered for years. How does Jagex ban bots? It's always been a really confusing subject for a lot of people. There's dozens of reports of people claiming to have been banned for no reason, players who run dozens of bot farms and have never been banned in their life, and so on. Now before I get started, I just want to say I do not condone botting whatsoever. It's completely against the rules and will almost certainly get you banned. This video is not to encourage botting at all. In fact, in some ways, this may even discourage you. Anyway, let's get into the video. Before we discuss how a bot actually gets banned, we need to learn what exactly a bot is. On the wiki, a bot is referred to as usage of a third-party software to perform automated tasks. So in essence, this can range from anything as simple as a program that high-alks items to something as complex as a bot that will boss for you. Bots have been an issue ever since the beginning of RuneScape, and attempts to stop them have been made by Jagex throughout the years. Before we get to what Jagex did about it, I figure I should explain all the different types of bots that currently exist in RuneScape. Once again, this is just for educational purposes, and I do not condone the use of bots whatsoever. One of the very first types of bots were packet bots. Basically what a packet bot did was send commands to Jagex's servers through the use of packets. These packets would have commands such as where to walk or what to click on. Jagex fixed these quite easily by encrypting communications. This was also the first time wide-scale bans of bots occurred. According to the wiki, it was the first time the community pronounced botting was truly dead. After this came color bots. What color bots do is recognize whatever color the botter selects and clicks it. Some more advanced versions of this bot scan images and 3D objects in the game. These bots are very easily broken whenever Jagex does a graphics update, and are just overall unreliable, although some pretty advanced ones do exist. Next is injection botting. Injection botting is when a bot injects into the RuneScape client's code and is able to read it. It reads the code and then decides what to do based on what it sees. It is fairly complex, and it allows bots to act just like humans sometimes. Jagex also breaks this form of bot through updates. The most notable thing that broke these bots was the Cluster Flutterer update, which I will go more into detail later. Basically what it did was change where code could be accessed as well as put in false code. This caused the bots to break and to be detected quite easily. Lastly, there are reflection bots. What they do is create an exact copy of the RuneScape applet and read the code of the copy and do not inject any code. Most modern day bots seem to use a combination of both injection and reflection. There are a few other lesser known bots I didn't cover, such as Gaming Engine and OpenGL/DirectX bots, but if you'd like to learn about those, I'll leave a link to the wiki page below. So now that you know what bots are, what did Jagex do to actually stop them? One of the earliest examples of stopping bots I can find goes all the way back to Runescape Classic, which was sometime after packet bots were patched. In Classic, your character has a set amount of energy that you need to recharge every once in a while by sleeping in a bed or sleeping bag. While sleeping, you need to enter a CAPTCHA before you can wake up. Although it wasn't too effective from what I've heard, it was great for the time. A few years later, Jagex introduced random events to try and stop bots, but eventually botters found ways to avoid them or to just complete them. Another wide-scale method that actually had a major impact on the game happened on December 10th of 2007. Jagex made the highly controversial decision to completely remove free trade from the game, as well as removing the old style of player killing in the wilderness. This new style made it so well in the wilderness you would be safe from PKers, except on certain worlds that were introduced later. It also adjusted how drops worked, making PKing far less profitable. This effectively removed all real-life monetary gain from botting, but at the same time destroyed a huge chunk of the player base and significantly changed the game's economy. These changes brought on the pay-to-PK riots and thousands of players quitting. These changes were eventually reversed on February of 2011, but it still took a huge toll on the game. Now Jagex had to come up with a new way to ban bots. This is where Cluster Flutterer or Bot Nuke Day comes into play. This change occurred on the 25th of October in 2011 and was absolutely massive for RuneScape. Basically what this update did was it prevented reflection and ejection bots from functioning. At the time, Jagex believed nearly 98% of bots used these methods to work. Jagex was likely right, as they stated nearly 1.5 million bots had been banned in just a few days after. Now this was great, but bots are always evolving. Proof of this is when Jagex hired Jackmob. At the time of the bot nuke, he was a bot developer who was working on one of the most popular bot clients. Within 12 to 14 days after the bot nuke that was supposed to absolutely cripple bots and take months to fix, Mod Jackmob had already created a working bot. Jagex offered him a job, and as a result, he helped create the system that is in place today, BotWatch. BotWatch was originally introduced in September of 2012, and it brought with it Botany Bay. This is a system that we'll be focusing on to figure out how Jagex actually finds bots and bans them. So, how does Jagex actually ban bots? According to Mark Gerhard, BotWatch is able to profile accounts and determine whether or not they are using botting software. Most other anti-botting measures have focused on protecting and obfuscating Runescape's source code, but BotWatch doesn't focus on breaking the code of the botting software. Rather, it monitors an account's actions and determines whether or not it is human behavior. Certain checks are also in place to determine whether or not the game is being played using an official Jagex client. So this doesn't give us a crystal clear idea on what BotWatch looks for, but it gives us enough of an idea to understand how people are banned. Now this brings us to the topic of false positive bans. What this is when BotWatch detects what they believe to be a bot but is actually a player. To be honest, we have no idea if BotWatch has ever banned a real player. If a real player has been banned by BotWatch, it seems like it'd be a 1 in a million chance. There's been multiple discussions and debates about this, but it's something we'll never really know for sure unless Jagex tells us exactly how their bot detection works. Obviously, this will never happen, or all the time spent creating it will be completely wasted. So, hopefully this video answered all your questions that you may have on how Jagex actually bans bots, as well as the history behind them. This is the end of the video, so what are your thoughts on the topic? Feel free to leave them in the comments below if you'd like. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.